Okay, is my screen visible for y'all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then let's start. So today our topic is respiratory cycle, lung volumes, and then capacity. So as you all know, this is a very easy topic in your resource book. But we'll see some more details. I'm not just going to go through the whole resource book. Today we'll do some questions. I'll just do a revision part and then do some MCQs and then the SCQs. Okay. Then shall we start? Someone please respond. Okay, then let's start. So first of all, so the respiratory cycle means the inhalation and the exhalation during a single breath. Here you have to remember single breath. That's a very important point. Like now in a single breath, it includes both the inhalation and exhalation. That is how we actually calculate the respiratory rate. We include both the inhalation and the exhalation. So that is simple. And then we'll move into the lung volumes. What is mean by the lung volume? Lung volume means the volume of gas which can be moved in and out of the lungs during a breathing. During a normal breath, like the volume of gas which can be moved in and out of the lungs, that is known as the lung volume. And then, what are lung capacities? Capacities means the combination of two or more of the basic lung volumes. So you all have to don't just try to hear only in your resource book. These lung volumes and capacities include only 2 pages. Okay. So that's like some people, they memorize the whole thing and then write for answers and then answer the MCQs and all. But we'll see some more things regarding this session. Okay. So lung volumes and then lung capacities. Actually, tell me, someone please respond. Like, why do we learn these lung volumes and capacities? Can anyone tell me? Because this lung volumes and capacity is very important in the medical field. Okay, we'll try to understand it in a couple of minutes. Okay, so the other thing that you all have to know is these lung volumes and these capacities. They are determined by the mechanical properties of lung and the chest wall. What are the mechanical properties? What is it? The mechanical property. So we know that during inhalation, what happens? The lungs, the lung wall and the chest wall, it expands. Okay. And during exhalation, what happens? They recoil. So this is known as, in physics, you all learn elasticity. So elasticity, the stretching and then recoiling. So this is the mechanical property that is determined by these lung volumes and capacities. Okay. So the lung volumes and the mechanical properties of lung and the chest wall, we call it as the elastic recoil. And then the another thing that you all have to know is these lung volumes and these lung capacities, they depend on the age. We'll try to understand in the other slides. Okay, the age, body build, the level of fitness, and our sex. You all might have now done all the revision parts now. So even in the certain lung volumes, it differs depending on the whether it's a male or a female. The lung volume depends. So the sex and ethnicity. Ethnicity, you all might have known that the people who are living in the mountainous regions, they have high lung volume. The volume of the thoracic cavity is high because the oxygen saturation in the mountainous region is very low. So they need to do more work. They have to put a lot of work in breathing. So their lung volumes, they have adapted. That is an adaptation. So depending on the ethnicity, the lung volumes and the capacities might differ. And also the posture that we are here, even during in old age, the people they have these hunchbacks and all. So even the posture matters. What to understand is learning these lung volumes and these capacities, they provide the information about the mechanical properties of lung and the chest wall. Okay. So in a MCQs, not in MCQs actually, in SCQs, they might question you all. Like, why do we learn these lung volumes and capacities? Because they provide the information about the mechanical properties of lung and the chest wall, and also by measuring the lung volumes and these capacities, we can that can actually can be used to detect and follow the progression of certain lung diseases. Now, up to now, you all might have learned about certain lung diseases in your that's given in your resource book, for example, such as pulmonary fibrosis, asthma, and those conditions. So in those conditions, now, for example, if we take pulmonary fibrosis, what happens is, in pulmonary fibrosis, the lung tissue, the elastic tissue of the lung, it is replaced by the fibrous tissue. So the fibrous tissue, the elasticity is reduced. So what happens? The elastic nature of the lung wall, it is reduced. Therefore, the lungs cannot expand. So the inhalation process does not occur well in pulmonary fibrosis. So by measuring the lung volumes and these capacities in the medical, in related to medicine, what happens is we can get an idea, or we can detect the lung diseases, and also we can follow its progression. Same applies to asthma. Okay. So those are few of the examples. Like, why do we learn these lung volumes and capacities, and what does it provide the information about? Y'all just have an idea about this. Okay. Did you all understand? Someone please respond. Okay, thank you. Okay then. So this is just a brief introduction of why do we learn these lung volumes, and what is the importance of learning these lung volumes and capacities. That's all. Okay, now we'll move into the lung volumes and its capacities. So according to your resource book, you all have to know about 4 lung volumes and 4 capacities. Okay. Okay. So this graph is very familiar for y'all. Hope y'all can remember this very well. Okay, we'll move into it. So under lung volume, we know that lung volume means the amount of air that flows in and out of the lungs. Okay, and so that actually depends on the conditions of inspiration and expiration. According to that, there are volumes that have been described. The first one is the tidal volume. Don't just try to memorize these things. Just get an idea of what does it means. Okay, and that would be very easy for you. Okay, don't just try to memorize. So the first one is tidal volume. So what is tidal volume? Can someone answer? Okay, I'll move on. The tidal volume is what? It is the volume of air that is passing into and out of the lung with each breath during a normal breathing. So these two words, each breath, in tidal volume, each breath, and normal breathing. These are very two important words. Okay. Each breath, in a single breath. We are calculating the tidal volume for a single breath, which includes the inhalation and the exhalation. And during normal breathing, not during a forceful breathing. It does not include any deep inhalation or deep exhalation. Just a normal breathing. So that's it. So that is the tidal volume, the volume of air that passes into and out of the lungs, with each breath during normal breathing. Very important 2 points, because in SCQs and all, they might question the definition. So you all should include these 2 points, okay, to score well. So on average, this tidal volume of a person is about 500 milliliters. Remember this volume also. It's around 500 milliliters. Okay, so that's it. Okay, then we'll move into the inspiratory reserve volume. So inspiratory reserve volume is the extra volume of air. So this is extra. extra volume of air that can be forcibly inhaled. Forcibly inhaled beyond the tidal volume. So that's it. So in tidal volume, I mean during a normal inspiration, I mean in a normal respiration, what are the respiratory muscles that involve? Someone please answer this question.
Diaphragm and external intercostal muscles.
Yeah, that is in inspiration. So as a whole, if we take the diaphragm, basically the diaphragm, external intercostal muscles and the internal intercostal muscles. Very good. So those are the ones that are involved in a normal breathing. But if we go for a forceful inspiration or a forceful expiration, what are the other muscles that involve? Like if we forcibly inhale and exhale, is the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm muscles enough for the to meet the demand?
Neck.
No, right? Yeah, very good. The muscles of the neck, muscles of the back, and also muscles of the chest. Very good. So that includes the inspiratory reserve volume. That is the extra volume of air. So this inspiratory reserve volume, it happens in when we inhale deeply. Okay, we'll go through examples later on. Okay, so the extra volume of air that can be forcibly inhaled beyond the tidal volume. That is the inspiratory volume. Actually, the amount is not given in your resource book, but roughly it's around 3,300 milliliter. Just to have an idea, no need to memorize this. Just get an idea. Okay, so that is the inspiratory reserve volume. Now, so beyond the tidal volume, if we inhale, that is inspiratory reserve volume. The other lung volume we are going to talk about is the expiratory reserve volume. So expiratory reserve volume, it's around like 1,100 milliliters. Okay, so what is expiratory volume? That is the extra volume of air which can be forcibly expelled from the lungs after a normal expiration. Okay, so that's it. But can you all see a difference? Like the inspiratory reserve volume is much greater than the expiratory reserve volume. That means we inhale a certain apart from the tidal volume, we inhale amount of extra volume of air, but we don't expirate, we don't exhale the total amount of air that we inhale. Okay, can you all understand it? There is some amount of air that remains within our lungs. That is why the expiratory reserve volume is actually lower. So this remaining amount of air in the lungs is known as the residual volume. Residue means remains. Okay, so the amount of air that remains in the lung even after a forceful expiration is known as the residual volume. So in an average person, it is about 1,200 milliliter. You have to remember this point, 1,200 milliliter. Okay, now we'll just talk about this, the importance of knowing the residual volume. Like what if we exhale the whole amount of air that we inhale in without leaving any amount of air? What will happen? For imagine the lungs, like, yeah, very good. The lungs will get collapsed because why? The residual volume is the only volume. Sorry, wait. So if the residual volume did not exceed, what happens is the lungs will come and if the lungs were completely empty, the tissues that make up the lungs could stick together, making it impossible for us to reinflate and force them open with an effort. So that means to prevent the collapsing in an SCQ, they might question you. Like what is the reason? What is the importance of this residual volume? To prevent collapsing of lungs. And you all have to remember, this is the only volume that fills the alveolar sacs, the air spaces, where the gas exchange takes place. Okay, so the gas exchange takes place across the alveolar capillary membrane. So this is the only volume of air that remains within the lungs that is available for gas exchange. If we don't have this amount of air, what will happen? The lungs will, yeah, sacs, the tissues surrounding the alveolar sacs stick together and get collapsed. So what happens? We have to make a lot of volume is very much important. Okay, remember that thing. So that's about the residual volume. So I think we have talked about the 4 types of lung volumes. The tidal volume is around 500 milliliters. The inspiratory reserve volume, which is around 3,300 milliliters, and the expiratory reserve volume 1,100 milliliters. These are the rough. This was not given in your resource book actually. These 2 volumes. So just remember, get an idea. And then the residual volume you have to remember 1200 milliliters. So hope you all understand until this point. Now we'll move into the lung capacities. So what are lung capacities? So lung capacities are the combination of 2 or more of the basic lung volumes. 2 or more basic lung volumes combine together and form lung capacity. So this is very important medical field because we actually measure the lung capacities. Okay. Measure the lung capacities and detect different diseases. We categorize the diseases. Okay, you all don't need to know at this level, just to have a rough idea. So what are the lung capacities? So the lung capacities are the inspiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity. Okay, wait. Okay. Inspiratory capacity. So the inspiratory capacity includes what? The tidal volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume. These 2 points. The tidal volume and the inspiratory reserve volume. What does that mean? The total volume of air that can be inspired with a maximum effort. We know it's obvious. For inspiratory reserve volume, we have to put an effort. So the total volume of air that can be inspired with a maximum effort is the inspiratory capacity. Just remember these things. It's very easy. And the functional residual capacity. Functional residual capacity means the volume of air remaining in the lungs at the end of a normal expiration. So the functional residual, FRC, functional residual capacity includes expiratory reserve volume plus the residual volume. Okay. The volume of air that remains in the lungs at the end of a normal expiration. At the end of a normal expiration, these 2, the expiratory reserve volume and the residual volume remain within the lungs. So that's it. And also, now as we talked about the residual volume before, I mean the importance of the residual volume, as the functional residual capacity also includes the residual volume, the importance of functional residual capacity is what? The same thing. It is important for the continuous gas exchange. It is important for continuous gas exchange as well as it prevents collapsing of alveoli during expiration. This is very important. So they might question these in your SCQs. Okay. So the next one, vital capacity. Vital capacity is the maximum volume of air which can be inhaled and exhaled. So that is normally it differs in men and then in women. In men, it's around 4,800 milliliters, and in women, it's around 3,100 milliliters. Remember these points. Okay. So vital capacity includes what? The tidal volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume plus the expiratory reserve volume. It's very easy. The tidal volume, the inspiratory reserve volume, and the expiratory volume. This whole thing is the vital capacity. So see, William, at the very beginning, I told you all, the lung capacities and the volume, they depend on the sex. So it differs in male and female. And the other thing, there is something that I wanted to mention y'all here. I'll talk about it. So that's it about the vital capacity. And the other one is the total lung, obvious, the maximum volume of air the lung can hold. And that is the sum of all lung volumes. So the total lung capacity includes all the lung volumes, including tidal volume. And if we go up the inspiratory reserve volume, if we go down the expiratory reserve volume, and plus the residual volume. Okay. So it's around 6,000 milliliter in a healthy adult. You have to remember this because they are given in your resource book and it's very easy. So that's it. Now, apart from this, now we are done with the lung volumes, lung capacities and all. And there is a small point that you all have to know, that is the anatomical dead space. Some students, they get confused between the anatomical dead space and the residual volume. Okay, don't just get confused because the residual volume is the amount of air that is available for gas exchange. But if we talk about the anatomical dead space, it is not available for gas exchange. Dead means we can't extract oxygen from that air. Okay, that is what it implies, dead space. So the amount of air that fills the system of branching conducting tubules. Branching conducting tubes, which includes what? What are they? The trachea, and if we go down, the trachea divides into two, the bronchi, and the bronchi further divides into bronchioles. Okay, so the amount of air that fills these conducting tubules is known as the anatomical dead space, and you all have to remember that it never contributes to the gas exchange because gas exchange takes place at what place? At the alveolar capillary membrane. Only the residual volume contributes for the gas exchange in alveoli. So this volume of air, so this volume is 150 milliliters. I'll just go through it, just remember. So did you all yeah, it's fine. So we talked about the importance of knowing the lung volumes and capacities and what do they depend on, what are they determined by, and what do we get from these lung volumes and capacities, and then the 4 lung volumes and the 4 capacities, including their definitions and the volumes. All right then. Shall we move into some MCQs? Are there any questions? Shall we move into some questions? Okay. Okay then. Try this question, the first MCQ. I'll give you 2 minutes. It's very easy, just direct answer. And someone tell me the answer. So in this first MCQ, they have given a table. These type of questions, you all can get these type of questions because these are just direct things from your resource book. So which include, now in this question, they have given the lung capacities, explanation, and the normal value. You all just have to match those and get the correct response. Someone please tell me the answer for the two questions. Can someone tell me the answer for the first one? The correct response related to lung capacities A, B, C. They have given the functional residual capacity, vital capacity, and the total lung capacity. And their explanation, you have to just match this. Very easy. So what is meant by the functional residual capacity? So the functional residual capacity includes what are the lung volumes that involve in the functional residual capacity? The expiratory reserve volume and the residual volume. So the functional residual capacity means the volume of air that is remaining in the lungs at the end of tidal expiration. This is it. R. And the vital capacity. What is meant by vital capacity? The vital capacity means the inspiratory reserve volume, the tidal volume, and the inspiratory reserve volume. So that is the maximum volume of air that can be inhaled and exhaled. Inhalation maximum volume. This includes inspiratory reserve volume and the maximum volume of air that involves in exhalation, inspiratory reserve volume. Okay. And the other one, the total capacity. It's very easy. The total lung capacity means the maximum volume of air that our lung can hold. So the answer will be 5. So this is the answer. Okay, let's move into the other sub-question. The correct response related to normal values of lung capacities A, B, C. With the normal values, you just have to match them. Someone tell me the answer for this question. Please respond. Okay. Yeah, very good. The first one. Why is it the first one? Because the functional is now, like, for example, now here the functional residual capacity actually not given in your research book. But you know, but the vital capacity for men, it is 4,800 milliliters, and the vital capacity for women is 3,100 liters. So it's correct. And the total capacity is also, you know. Then except the remaining thing is 2,400 milliliters. Actually, according to this graph also, you can just calculate the expiratory reserve volume is 1,100 and 1,200, nearly 2,300. So obvious now. So it's easy. So actually, the next question will be taken from this lesson. Okay. Okay, we'll move to the other things. This one. Second one. They have given certain lung volumes and the lung capacities as well. So the response that includes the values. If you all can remember the values, it's very easy. Tell me the answer. Please put it in the chat box only.
Third answer.
For the second one, yeah, very good. 500. Yeah, the tidal volume, you all know that it is 500, and the residual volume is 1,200, and the male vital capacity, total lung capacity is 6,000. So if you all even can't remember the male vital capacity, you all just can go through the tidal volume, the residual volume, and the total lung capacity, and 3,100 and the 4,800 is remaining. So we know that in males the lung volumes are high, so it's 4,800. Just do some tricks if you all can't remember anything. So this is the answer. Next one, third one. Third one is actually very easy question, but here I have to explain something. So just go through and tell me the answer. Yes, sir. I'll explain each and every statement, but before that, I wanted to know your answer.
Third one.
Third one, yeah, correct. Okay, what about the first one? Now, if third one is correct, the first is obviously it's wrong. So what's the what is the mistake given there? What's wrong with that statement?
Slightly increase.
Can you tell me? Actually, not that thing. This is it. Now in heavy exercises, what happens is, in heavy exercises, what do we need? Like you may have seen like the people doing like exercising person, they breathe rapidly, right? They breathe rapidly and their breath is very shallow, not deep. So during heavy exercises, what happens is the tidal volume actually increase. Okay, the tidal volume actually increases because why? What is the reason? Our body during exercises, our body requires more oxygen. Okay, so we take in large breaths, not like the normal breathing that we usually do in our day-to-day activities. Okay, so in exercising, the body requires more oxygen and we take in large breaths. Therefore, what happens? The tidal volume increases. As we take in large breaths, we also, due to the metabolic rate in our body also increases. Therefore, the body produces more carbon dioxide to meet the demand. Therefore, we exhale more. So we take in large breaths and we exhale more. Therefore, the tidal volume actually increases. What about the inspiratory reserve volume? Can someone tell me whether it increases, if it not increases, or whether it decreases? What's your opinion? What happens to the inspiratory reserve volume?
It won't change.
It won't change in the sense like this. What is the inspiratory reserve volume? At what type of situations do we forcibly inhale and we forcibly exhale? During deep inhalations, right? So when we are inhaling deeply, the inspiratory reserve volume might increase. But here, during exercises, this happens. Now, inspiratory reserve volume is actually, what is it? It's the additional amount of air that we can inhale beyond the normal breath. Okay. So, and it is used when we need to take more air in. Okay. In conditions where we need more oxygen, we deeply inspire. That is in deep inhalations. But in heavy exercise, what happens is the breathing rate is very high. The person breathes fastly, more rapidly, and the breathing is very shallow, not deep. That's why tidal volume increases. So we can say that in inspiratory reserve volume, but it might not change or it may decreases because there is less room for deep inhalations. The breath is always rapid and shallow. So the tidal volume increases. Actually, the inspiratory reserve volume decreases because we don't breathe like deeply. There is shallow breathing that takes place during exercises. Okay, because of that thing, the inspiratory reserve volume may decrease. Okay, actually, you all don't need to know this much of information. But what if they give for an MCQ? Okay, but use your tricks. Like if you have no idea about this statement, just go through the other statements. If you find any mistake in the other statements, then that's obviously like you can go on with the correct answer. Okay, so it's fine. So the next one. After deep expiration, the remaining
Excuse me.
volume of lung. Yeah, sure.
This in the first statement, like heavy exercises slightly increases tidal volume and the inspiratory reserve volume, right? That you said
Yeah,
tidal volume will also increase slightly. IRV will also increase. My question is
yeah.
like
No,
the
IRV actually decreases, right? Because what happens in see, it's not deep. That we don't deep breathe, like we don't breathe deeply. Sorry. Okay, it's shallow and rapid, like very fast. So the inspiratory reserve volume may decrease. We can't say that it increased. Okay,
so
are you
the
okay
graph
with that?
is measured when the particular person is being at rest only. Is it
Yeah,
the
but there
graph?
are conditions. No, yeah, you're correct. You're right. The graph is actually measured like now when we come across this graph, this is actually measured like now the tidal volume actually is measured when the person is at resting conditions. Okay, this also happens in a normal person. But the thing is, now these are like other conditions, exceptions. We can talk about them also. There are certain like situations where the tidal volume may increase, may decrease. Like for example, wait. For example, now in exercises and even during pregnancy conditions also the tidal volume increases. And there are other conditions where the tidal volume decreases. Okay. Like for example, at your level, actually you all don't need to know. For example, during paralysis conditions, like if there is a paralysis in the respiratory muscles, what can you say? I actually wanted to talk about it. This is just something out of the scope. Now, for example, if the person is having uh, a respiratory muscle paralysis, what can you say about the tidal volume, the inspiratory reserve volume, and the expiratory reserve volume?
Is it 0?
Not actually, it won't be like zero. But the thing is, during respiratory muscle paralysis, what happens is the expiratory reserve volume, because the muscles are paralyzed, muscles lose their ability to contract and relax. So during contraction and relaxation, I told you know at the very beginning, it depends on the elasticity of the muscles. So what happens is even the expiratory reserve volume and both the inspirator, that means we can't like in by force we can't intake lot of air into our lungs. So the inspiratory reserve volume as well as the expiratory reserve volume decreases. The other thing I have to talk is in age. When the person get older, what happens? These are just few points to like y'all to think about it a little bit more. When the person ages, well, like when increasing with the age, what can you say about the? Actually, we can talk about the expiratory one. Like try to figure it out using the try to work it out using the residual volume and those stuffs, the elasticity, because why the lung volumes and capacity basically depends on the mechanical properties, the elasticity of the chest wall and the lung wall. So what happens with the age? With the age, what happens? What can you see? Can you all think about it? Sometimes it might be a little bit like too much for you all, but just to have an idea. What's going on with these lung volumes and capacity? Can you someone answer? Like with the age, what happens? The muscles, what happens to the elasticity of the muscles? The strength, muscle strength.
Decreases.
Yeah, it decreases with the age. The strength of the respiratory muscles, including the diaphragm, the intercostal muscles, they are decreases. Then what happens? The elasticity also reduces. So what happens now? We are in now. Now imagine now a person in old age, a person is inhaling. So what happens? The amount of air that goes in, and now we have to expire. That means we have to exhale. Now during inhaling, it stretches, and then during exhaling, what happens? Due to the elastic recoil in the sense, you all know, right? Elasticity, what it means. So it had to come back to the original position. When the elasticity reduces, what happens? The elastic recoil also reduces. Then what happens? The volume of air that can be exhaled is decreased or increased. The volume of air that can be
Decreased.
exhaled, yeah, very good. The volume of air that can be exhaled is decreased. Then what happens? The amount of air that accumulates within the lungs, if we can't exhale the amount of air that we inhale, what happens? The amount of air that accumulates within the lungs increases or decreases?
Decreases too.
Sorry,
It decreases too.
Increases.
increases. It doesn't. Now imagine like we inhale a certain amount of air and we can't exhale it because the elasticity is reduced. The lungs cannot recoil properly. Okay, what happens? The amount of air then that accumulates within the lungs, I'm talking about the residual volume. The residual volume with the age increases because we can't exhale the amount of air that we inhale. Then what happens? The expiratory reserve volume decreases. Residual volume increases because the amount of air that accumulates increases. Expiratory, in the other hand, expiratory reserve volume decrease. Actually, this is like too much for you all, but just to have an idea, like without just talking about this tidal volume, IRV, ERV, these are just simple. If someone just go through the resource book also, they can understand and they try to memorize and answer these questions. But just think a little bit like further. Then you all can have an idea like what's going on with these lung volumes and capacities. Okay, no need to like stress yourself too much, but just to get an idea like how it works out. Okay, it's very interesting. So that's it. Can you all understand it? Did you all understand actually? It's okay if you don't understand. Is it okay for you all? Someone please respond. Did you all understand the concept?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're moving to the other one. So that's it. So after deep, so the second statement is after deep expiration, the remaining volume of the lungs is known as what? Obviously, it's residual volume. It's not dead space. Dead space does not involve in gas exchange, and it is the amount of air that's in the conducting tubules actually. Okay, so that's it. And the third one is the correct statement because why? The alveolar walls are lined by simple squamous epithelium with septal cells. That's obvious, the septal cells. Okay, the macrophages. Okay, the other one. Walls of the lungs are covered by not a single pleural membrane, double membrane. The visceral pleura and the parietal pleura. Okay, you all might have known that. And the other one. The pulmonary veins transport deoxygenated blood towards the lungs. Can someone correct this statement? Actually, it is not related to lung volumes and capacities, but just related to your respiratory module. So, can someone correct this statement? Pulmonary veins transport deoxygenated blood towards the lungs. What happens?
Pulmonary artery transport deoxygenated blood towards the lungs.
Yep, correct. Okay, what happens is the pulmonary trunk, starting from which chamber? Pulmonary trunk, right or left? Ventricle or atria? What's it? The pulmonary trunk originates from the right ventricle. Yeah, that's it. Very good. Right ventricle, and then it divides into two, the right and left branches. And then it actually transports deoxygenated blood, the blood that is coming from the two vena cava, inferior, superior, and the inferior vena cava, which drains into the right atrium, and then into the, via the tricuspid valve, it drains into the right ventricle, and then into the pulmonary trunk. So the pulmonary trunk divides into two, to both lungs, the right and left. And from the lungs, there's a capillary network within the lungs, the pulmonary capillary network, and then it extracts oxygen from the via the alveolar capillary membrane from the alveoli towards the blood circulation, and then it becomes oxygenated. The partial pressure of oxygen increases, and then what happens? Through, like, it returns to the heart via what? Via the pulmonary veins. There are 4 pulmonary veins, 2 coming from each lung. And then it drains into the left atrium, and then via the mitral valve into the left ventricle. And then it is the left ventricle is very muscular because it needs a lot of effort to push the blood into the aorta, the great vessel, aorta, and then aorta branches and then distribute blood to the whole body. So there is the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. Just have a thorough idea about this. It is very easy. It's very interesting for you all. Okay, so that's it. Hope you all understand until now. Okay, we'll move to the other question. Here, I think you all might have to do a little bit of a small calculation. Can someone try this and let me know the answer. The 4 respiratory volumes of a resting person. Now here it differs. So in a resting person, they have given So you all just have to, if you all know the combinations of the lung volumes, you all can work it out. It's very easy. Did you all get the answer? Yeah, the first one is the answer. Very good. How is that? So the inspiratory, you all have to find inspiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, and the vital capacity. So inspiratory capacity means it includes, IC includes the tidal volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume. So the tidal volume is 450 they have given, and IRV is 2500. So that is 2950. So that's it. And then the functional residual capacity. Functional residual capacity is equal to what? Expiratory reserve volume plus the residual volume. So expiratory reserve volume they have given 1450 and the residual volume is 1100. Summation is 2550. So the vital capacity is equal to inspiratory reserve volume, the tidal volume, and the expiratory reserve volume. If we add those three, the tidal volume, IRV, ERV, it is equal to 4400. Very easy. So these are the type of questions that you might get in your paper. Okay. So that's an MCQ. Now these are few MCQs that I got from some model papers and from past papers. We'll move to one SCQ question. Actually, when it comes to lung volumes and capacities, they ask like, what is the definition? Explain, like, define expiratory reserve volume and what is the value in a normal healthy adult. So those type of questions are only they gave. Like in your HCQ, you all have this one SCQ related to animal form and function. So it is a combination of different systems. So out of them, only 2 or 3 questions will be given. Okay. So anyway, let's try this SCQ. Shall I directly discuss with you all or give you some time to write the answers and then discuss? What's your opinion? Okay, I'll give some time. Sure. Wait, I'll share it. Okay, so this is the SCQ. It contains 4 subparts. Yeah. I'll give you around 5 minutes. Is it enough? Okay, just try. Try and let me know when you all are done.
Recording in progress. Progress.
Are you all done? Shall I start it?
Yes, please.
Okay, then we'll start. It's very easy. So the first question is, they have asked, the changes of the respiratory air volumes in the lung ventilation process of human are represented here. They have given the graph. Actually, we call this graph as a White-Low graph. No need to the volume. Okay, I'll discuss it later. No need to know the volumes or not. Okay. So the first question is, name the axis. What is represented by X? Please answer.
Cycles,
turn on your
respiratory cycles.
No, actually, it's very easy. X is the time. Okay, remember that. X is the time. Okay. And Y? Y is what? Here in my previous graph, you see maybe this is the time. Lung volumes. Here these 1, 2, 3, they are in liters. 1,000, 2,000, like, I mean, 1 liter, 2 liter, 3 liter, like they are in liters. So the Y is represented by, lung volumes. Okay, I'll write it here. Lung volumes are represented by the y-axis. Okay, just remember this. See, a very small point. Okay, don't just confuse. X is the time and the y is the lung volume. So that's easy. And the next question. State the proper letter A to E to indicate the following air volumes. Following lung volumes actually. So A, simple A is the residual volume. Which letter is indicated by the residual volume? Yeah, please answer. First of all, can you all figure it out the graph? Is it okay for you all? Ah, yeah, later, dear. Okay. Just turn on your mics and it's okay, fine. So the residual volume is represented by letter D. This is it. Okay. And the tidal volume is B. Okay. So the inspiratory reserve volume is represented by C. And what about E? E is the please turn. Sorry. Yeah. I didn't hear you well. E is represented by okay expiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume ERV. And A is what is represented by A? Okay, are they asking? Yeah. No. What about A? What's it? Yeah, very good. Vital capacity, which includes tidal volume, ERV and IRV. Very good. Okay, then. That's it. So it's easy, no? You may come across these type of questions as well. Okay, not just definitions and lung volumes. So just try to remember the axes, what are the volumes represented by them, and then the values. Okay. Next question. State the proper values for following in a healthy adult. In a healthy adult, what is the expiratory reserve volume? What can you say? Actually, the expiratory reserve volume and the inspiratory IRV, ERV, they are not given in your resource books. But I think I have mentioned here. If it's not given, actually they won't ask you. But just remember these values. IRV is around 3,300 milliliters or else 3.3 liters. And expiratory reserve volume, you all can write it as 1,100. If it's not given, like specifically not mentioned in your resource book, they won't actually ask it. 1,100 milliliters. And A. A is what? A is the vital capacity. So here it's better if you could write both like men and women. If you are writing about men, then just mention like this. Men. So what is the value for the vital capacity?
$4,800 for men.
For men it's 4,800 milliliters, and for women it's 3,000. Very good. 3,100 milliliters. So it's better if you can write both. Okay, they have mentioned. Okay, the next question. If the respiratory frequency, actually respiratory frequency means the respiratory rate, number of breaths per minute. Respiratory rate of a healthy adult is given as 15 breaths per minute. And if the dead space air is the air that is available in the conducting tubules and all. So that is not the specificity of dead space is what? It is not involved in gas exchange. That's it. That only you have to know. This is 150 milliliters. So now they have asked to calculate the rate of alveolar ventilation in that person. Did someone get the answer?
5.25 liter per minute.
Sorry?
5.25 liters per minute.
5.25. What about the others? What about the others? Anyone else? No, I wanted to see your answers. Just turn on the mic and tell. Calculate the rate in milliliter. You have given in milliliter per minute, right? Okay. Even you can tell that in milliliter per second. That's fine. So calculate it in milliliter per second. That would be easy for you. We'll try it. Someone else? I need some other answers. Wait, we'll check. Oh, 1 liter per minute. Hmm. Okay. Actually, what you all have to do here is they are asking about the rate of alveolar ventilation. That means you all have to know what is the amount of the volume of air that is available for gas exchange. How to calculate that? So you all know here you all have to know the tidal volume. So the tidal volume is 500 milliliters. Okay, that you all have to know. That's not given here. And they have given that the anatomical dead space is 150 milliliters. Okay, so what is the difference? The tidal volume now this is talking about a normal breathing, and in a single breath now. So in a normal breathing, the tidal volume is, we have to talk about the tidal volume, the 500 milliliter thing, and the anatomical dead space is 150. So the amount of air that is available in the alveoli, the amount of air that is available for ventilation is what? You have to take the difference. And that is equal to 500 minus 150. What's the answer? 350 milliliters. Okay. Did you all get it? Did you all get it? Someone please respond.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay then. So that is the that is what we need actually to calculate the rate of ventilation. So if you are going to calculate in milliliter per second, the rate is actually what? 350 multiplied by 50. Per second. So that is 15 divided by 60. Sorry, interruption caused because now some sort of network issues actually. Okay, wait. I'll share the screen. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is it. The rate is 87.5 milliliter per second. That's in per second. So you all can even write it in milliliter, I mean per minute. Then no need of this thing. Okay, or else in liter per minute. Okay, liter per minute, then you all no need to like, if so, the rate is what 350 milliliters multiplied by 15. So that is 5250 milliliter per minute, or else 5.25. Very good. The one who told the answer before is correct. Like this.
Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
This
Hmm.
now you said tidal volume is 500 ml and anatomical dead space is 150, and you have to take the difference.
Yeah.
This since tidal volume is just 500 ml, it won't change
Yeah.
continuously, right?
Yeah, it
Eh,
won't. Yeah, in a normal, I mean, now this is talking about normal, I mean, in a normal condition, no need to go with the inspiratory volume and all. Yeah, so,
And so just take 500 and just divide multiply by 15 and get the answer, right?
no,
Because it won't affect anything, right, with the anatomical dead space. I mean, here the
actually,
dead space here won't affect here now for the tidal volume. Why do we need to take the difference instead?
no, because actually the tidal volume is the thing that we like in a normal, like if we consider a normal breathing process, the thing that means we inhale and we exhale. So during a normal breath, that is a tidal volume. So even during the tidal volume thing, some amount of air. Now imagine now we inhale, okay, that amount of air then passes through the conducting tubules and they enter the alveoli. And even if we like if we exhale, but even when we are exhaling, what happens is certain amount of air it's available for like what do we call that within the what do we call that within the conducting tubules now. So in my opinion, I think the dead space area should be like included for the calculation because there is dead space. Like we don't exhale the total amount of air that we inhale. Okay, so that is a different thing. That is about the, I mean, don't confuse it with dead space with the residual volume. Okay, did I answer your question?
This I mean,
It's confusing for you, right?
because here tidal volume is being constant here now. Like for healthy adult, it's like 500 ml. Residual
Yeah.
space, well, I think the dead space air won't affect anything, right? It will be there, but during the measurement, it's like 500 ml now, like averagely
So
during
you are
the.
talking like okay, like that. Actually, okay, we actually what I mean is yeah, we'll answer your question. Okay, I'll just think about it. Okay. So this is 500 milliliters and the anatomical dead space is 100. Actually, we have to subtract it and then get the weight because, yeah, we'll think about it and let you know. Okay. Do you have my contact number?
No.
Okay, I'll talk with the coordinators. Sure. We'll answer your question for that. Okay. Okay, so that's it. What I wanted to tell y'all. So hope you all understand it. How was it? Is it useful for y'all? Do you have any questions? You all have any other questions?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you please explain the last question again?
Okay. So it's this thing, right? The same question. So in the so if the respiratory frequency is actually the respiratory rate, right? So it's around 15 to 20, the normal value, the 15, 18 to 20, like around that thing. So of a healthy adult is 15 breaths per minute. They have given it. Okay. And they have given the dead space air is 150 milliliters. Okay. So actually, what is this dead space air? To be honest, like dead space, when we consider the dead space air, there are two types: the anatomical dead space and the physiological dead space. But at this level, you all don't need to know about those stuffs. Okay, just think anatomical dead space means that amount of air it is not there for the gas exchange. Okay, starting from the nose to the bronchial, it is there for the conducting tubule, not in the alveolar within the alveolar sacs. Okay. Now, when we inhale, some amount of air remains like within the conducting tubules, but that does not involve in gas exchange, and the remaining amount of air only goes into the alveolar sacs. And they are also okay. So that's it. So that is the dead space air, and it's given as 150 milliliters. Now, in this question, they have actually, to be like frank, I got it from a model paper, and these type of questions won't ask for you, but we can't say that in higher level papers. We can't predict that, but just try this type of questions. So they calculate the rate of alveolar ventilation. Rate of ventilation, not someone has asked it's a rate of inhalation or something. No, it's ventilation. But actually, what is meant by ventilation? Is breathing in and out. Okay. Ventilated alveoli means the alveoli are filled with gases. That's it. Rate of alveolar ventilation. So here, for the ventilation purpose, we all have to know the amount of air that is available for exchanging, right? For alveolar ventilation. So here the tidal volume, we actually know in a normal individual, the tidal volume is 500 milliliters and the anatomical dead space is 150 milliliters. So by subtracting, by taking the difference between these two, we can calculate the rate. I actually have to, did you get it?
Yes.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, what about the MCQ parts? That's fine, right?
Okay.
So actually here the thing is, now imagine now air that is I'm trying to answering your confusion. The thing is now air is brought into the lungs now, so it should travel through the airways. But airways are not like they are not the major sites of gas exchange. Okay. So the volume that is remaining in the airways for inhalation is considered as the anatomical dead space. Okay. So the volume resulting from the airway dead space is about like it's like now for example 150 out of 500. Okay, out of 500, 150 contributes to the dead space. The remaining goes to the alveoli. So think like that. Actually, that is it. Not like that constant thing what you said. Okay. Did you get it? The one who asked the question.
It bothers me a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Then don't just simply think like this. So it is actually a portion of the tidal volume. Did you get what I mean? Like now when we are inhaling, like certain amount of air that remains in the air passages and the remaining goes for ventilation purpose. So it is like a portion of the each tidal volume. But it does not contribute for the gasation. That's it. So simple. So out of the tidal volume, you know it is 500 milliliters. If some amount of air remains within the conducting tubules, then the remaining goes for the gas exchange. I mean for ventilation purpose. So you have to take the difference and calculate the rate. Actually, if it's like bothering you a lot, don't just think too much. I don't think these type of questions will answer, but just to think out of the scope. That's only I found this. So that's all for today. But like don't just try to, even not only for I'm just telling this not only for like everybody, like most of the students they try to memorize the whole resource book and try to answer the questions, but do some things like that. Like when you're first reading, going through the notes of, I mean, resource book is very important, I know, right? From there only the questions are taken. But just don't just like try to memorize it, just think out of it. Can try to answer the SCQs. Okay. SCQs, MCQs, and try to review them. Write reviews. That's the best option for you all. Okay. So shall we then just end the session? Okay, then thank you for your participation. Hope you all understand it. Full pass now you all have this problem from 2019, right? We've got the new paper, so try to do like y'all even we did, because we didn't have any much past papers for us. We had the all syllabus one, but from them you all have to extract the ones that are included in our syllabus. But nowadays I think there are like many model papers. You all can find many model papers, and even from the faculties and all those things, we also prepare some model papers, because for the students try to collect them and then try doing those questions. Past papers is good, but the thing is when it comes to biology, the thing is it's different from there's a difference in the syllabus, you know? So if you can choose the questions, or if you can like extract the ones that you needed, but it takes time, that's the thing. Okay, so try to do now if you all are sitting for the LL for this year now, but you all have a quite a amount of past papers, so I think that's actually enough. But not only the past papers, you all might be attending for any paper classes, right? So try to do more questions and try to prepare like questions from the note itself. Okay, so that's it. Like, yeah, the biology model papers. Yeah, I have some model papers with me. I'll try to upload that into a group. I'll talk with the coordinators. Okay, then. Anything else? But within these days, I think y'all, it's better to do full papers, right? Not section wise, because you keep forgetting them. I think, yeah, it's the better option is doing full papers. Tip your time and then do them, attempt them. Because when you go to the exam, you all get full papers. No, you all get like, you all have to like organize your mind in such a way. Like if you are getting used to do some these section wise papers, then it will be like kind of difficult for y'all. So it's in my opinion is better to do full papers now and practice within the time. Even for biology, you may have known all the theories and all, but if you can't write it in the correct time, then that would be you all get messed up with the papers. That's it. Okay, then let's end up the session. Okay, barakallah. Okay then, yeah, bye.